beautiful and hard question. So anyone, if you've thought about it, how do you gauge if you're doing enough for your husband as his wife and for your family as the mother of your children? And I think emotional chastity, like guarding our emotions, might be part of it. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I struggle with that. Like, I always like, man, I should have done this or I should have done that, you know. But like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think the hardest part about that question is that just the nature of motherhood is that you're always doing something, and so you always feel like you can't do more. But part of that might be because some of the things you're doing are not necessary. Mm-hmm. So really it's more about how do you gauge whether you're doing the right things, not just enough, because we're all over and busy. So, but maybe we're putting our time and attention into things that even sometimes seem good, like maybe we're cooking too elaborate of meals, or maybe our kids shouldn't be in so many, that's one of the other questions, but so many things. So you have to sort of gauge what's important. Yeah. There was a book that one of the parenting talks that at Western or something was, and it was all about it was like a CEO of a company who wrote a book about being the CEO of your family.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And so basically it goes through like, this is what I did as a CEO, this is what I would do to my company if it was having problems.
He's the CEO of Ignatius Press.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Oh, is it?
I cannot remember what it's called.
Mark Brumley?
Maybe.
Is that? Is he the CEO? No, maybe he's not the CEO, he's the president. But he kind of goes through like how you need to intentionally be setting up the things that your family does. Don't just let the culture decide what's important, you know? And so you need to like make a motto and a philosophy for your family, and then you need to make your priorities. And like every week you need to keep checking back. Are we following our motto? Are we following our priorities? Are we keeping on the, like with the, with maybe some of the goals that our family has or whatever it is. I think that would be how you could tell if you're good. You might need to actually do the practical work of like thinking about the actual time you spend.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
We don't have like an actual like family motto or anything, but we do like, so I need to not yell this at my kids, but we like, you know, like I'll be like keeping this house clean is the work of our family.
Yeah.
Like participate in the work.
Yes.
That sounds like a motto.
No,
That's I just think it's like that's probably our motto. It's when I'm yelling across the house.
But I do know that a lot of families will you do try to make it, you know, so that this is, the blocks do this, the blocks do that, you know, like talk about yourselves as like a team or as a unified front, so that people don't think of themselves, because it's really hard, and especially in our culture of independence, that to break away from that, you know, do whatever it is best for you.
Live your best life.
Do whatever's best for our family, you know, like, so sometimes it's not what you want to do. So.
You have a great saying.
Huh?
You have a great saying.
Oh, grace and mercy and everything is fixable. I do. I say that a lot.
I say that in my knitting class. Like somebody will have like something messed up in their knitting. I'll be like, oh well, there's grace and mercy and needlepoint.
That's right. And everything is fixable. And you know, I realized a long time ago that I am enough. Just the way I am enough. And I realized also that my heart's always in the right place. I might not always know what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm not supposed to do, and what's good for the family is good for me. You know, what's good for the relationship with my husband or my children is good for me. And I do. I have a prayer that I kind of change up a little. That I say it all the time daily. God, please be the difference between the wife I am and the wife my husband needs. And God, please be the difference between the mother I am and the mother my children need. Because I can't do everything, but I can do some things. And, you know, and leave room for the Holy Spirit. Leave room for the Holy Spirit, you know, and I do say, God, you gotta fix this. You know, show me where you want me to be in the middle of this, or do I not need to be in the middle of this? You know, and also with the kids being, my children being older, Mom at this point stands for masking tape over mouth. Well, I try not to meddle too much.
Oh yeah, you very
And we have nice boundaries. We have pretty good boundaries where we respect each other pretty nicely. It's well, we have our ups and downs. Don't get me wrong about that. You know, we do.
I mean, yeah.
But there's 16 of us now, and you know, and we're all here in Houston, and we all live within about 15 minutes of each other. It's pretty amazing. It's absolutely wonderful. I love it. I feel very, very blessed.
That's
And-
beautiful.
Yeah.
Be so close.
But like you know, like social media, man. Like you know, I'm not on Instagram or Facebook or anything anymore because like I just like it was I quit it about maybe 5 years ago because like every time I would like open up Instagram and it's like it would just be like all these, you know, perfect pictures of people living their perfect lives and it's like, man, nobody's life is that perfect. And like I would close it like an hour later, having done like none of the stuff I was supposed to do, and just be like, man, like I am definitely not enough, you know. And like I mean, but
You are enough.
well, no, I know, but like you know, like yeah, it was just like really nice to like not participate in that like
That's true.
like self-building mirage anymore, you know. Like once I don't know, I really gave it up for like a Lent about 5 years ago and just never looked back on.
That's great.
Well, and I will say, you know, some of my work that internal spiritual work that I've done with myself, you know, I realized what I brought into my marriage. I'm the baby in the family, and I was always told to sit there, shut up, and do as you're told. Everybody always knew what was best, and so you know, that's what I brought into my marriage. And so I've tried really hard. I don't always do this, but you know, I've tried really hard for my kids to know that, you know, that you have value, and to not belittle them, and that you are enough, just the way you are, and that God loves all of us. And it's really, really hard. As Michelle was saying that, you know, our society is teaching us that I'm an individual and I don't need you. You know, I can do it myself. But, you know, God meant for us to be in community and to be a village, because we do need each other. And we count on each other. I count on them.
Yeah.
We have to have each other.
Also, I think it's really important what you said, what's good for the family is good for them. Because a lot of people, I think, are being told, like, where's your self-care?
Yeah.
Have you given yourself a break today? Like, and I do believe that some people do need to hear that, but in general,
It's gone
I
too
don't
far.
think our selfish society needs to hear that.
That's
Our
right.
selfish society needs to hear the other way around. Like, you're thinking about yourself that much. Yes, you do need to take a break every once in a while, you're gonna blow up, but most of the time, we're too selfish, in general. People are generally self-serving. That's just the fallen human nature. And you have to fight it, not the other way around. Like, I don't know why people act like, oh my gosh, I just haven't taken any time for myself today. Like, I highly doubt that you weren't thinking about yourself most of the day. You know, like, very few people are like that. So,
I really appreciate what y'all have shared, but Stephanie, what you started off with sharing about your marriage to your husband, I feel like, and how God has brought so much beauty out of that.
Mhm.
I feel like that's applicable to this question too, about gauging if you're enough. Do you have anything to add?
Well, okay, the way I heard the question was asking how in all of this incredible busyness that we have, do we still maintain a relationship with our husband? And I think that was also asked in other questions. One of the things that Stephen and I did, now we're very poor. We were very poor. We had a lot of kids. We were homeschooling he was working a gazillion jobs. We're kind of artists, so we buck the system anyway, in terms of, we'd never have a model. I mean, it would just, it rankles just to hear that. Not for any good reason, it was just the personalities. You know, we'd go to marriage enrichments, and whatever they would tell us to do, we wouldn't do it. Just because they told us to do it. Okay. But what we did do is, when he would come home before dinner, we would close the kitchen door and have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, whatever. And the kids knew we were doing it. They would bother us, but they knew that that was, you know, that 10, 15 minutes was to talk. And, or we would take a walk. And they would follow behind us, and they weren't allowed to bother us. And it kind of, and it didn't always work, but it kind of worked. And I think just having that consistent, daily, pretty much daily, time together was very helpful. And it didn't cost anything, and we didn't have money for dates, we didn't have babysitters for dates. Well, when they got older, they would babysit each other, but at that point. So, to maintain that relationship is, I think, the best gift you can give for your family.
That's true.
Isaac reminds me of that a lot. The best gift you can give your children is to love your spouse. It's very true. But we do that a lot, actually. We don't have a door in our kitchen. I don't think any house in the United States has one anymore. But we have a door to our bedroom, and we lock it a lot. And I'm just talking about just to talk.
Yeah.
Like, we just go in there and we lock the door, and the kids bang on it, and we just ignore them.
Mike says that the best thing he ever did was investing in the bedroom lock.
Lock the door.
Yeah,
We lock it all the time.
We used to have this like kind of wobbly lock, and the kids have figured out that if they like wiggled the door enough, and so Mike one day he like bought like a really sturdy like bedroom lock and or doorknob with a giant lock on it, and yep. And Mike, he'll be like, I'm going to go talk to your mother. I don't want anybody banging on that door unless the house is on fire or there's arterial blood spurt.
I don't say that. I say, the kids are like, well, what if that? I'm like, I don't care if the house is on fire. And they'll claim that it's an emergency, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, and then Michael just yell. He'll be like, "Is the house on fire or is it arterial?"
That's the door all the time.
And they'll be like, "No, but you know, so and so got the cookie dough."
But you know, the kids, for all that they bother you, it becomes kind of a game.
Yeah.
They love that you're doing it.
Yeah.
I hope so. And that kind of goes down to your.
Probably when they.
That kind of goes into the question. I thought I saw it. It may have been in the old questions. So it's going to question 4, which you're saying, what are ways to nurture marriage?
Oh, yeah.
And one of the old questions had something about, like, is it better to spend time? Oh, here it is. Daily, weekly, monthly, annually. I would say daily.
Yeah, daily.
The short was way better than the.
Yeah.
And I noticed that a long time ago, just with my kids with homeschooling. It's better to do like 5 minutes every day than an hour once a week.
Yes.
Right? It's way better. Same with visits, even visits from family. Like 2 days is better than 2 days twice in a year from like your in-laws or something. Is better than 2 weeks once, right? You see them more often. It's just better. And just every day, 15 minutes.
My dear mother-in-law had a saying that guests and fish stink after 3 days.
I know. I always feel bad about that. We stay at your house for 2 weeks. When we would stay at your house for 2 weeks. Way back when you lived in Elmwood. I thought, so we're skipping over question 2, but I think we should do it.
Yes, I think we should.
My mother-in-law's right here. Extremely toxic and verbally abusive. I always joke because when I met Isaac, my mom and his mom are good friends. They've known each other since we were little.
Remember what you say.
Yeah, but my mom is much more difficult than my mother-in-law. And she defends my mom all the time because of the kind of person that she is. And so, but anyway, I joke that I married Isaac for his family. so I don't have that problem, but I do have a little bit of problem with my own mom. So I was joking with my husband. I said, okay, this isn't my question, this is your question. How do you deal with your mother-in-law who's toxic or whatever? And he's like, I know what you're talking about. I always defend your mom against you. I'm like, so, nobody's helpful to me. She defends my mom. My husband defends my mom. I'm the bad guy in this relationship. That's why I can say, I don't know what to say for that one. Yeah.
What was the question?
It's how do you navigate your less than perfect relationship with your in-laws or your own parents?
Particularly when there's abuse. I think.
Yeah. So, and I don't know that my mom's abusive. She has her own problems, and it sometimes can be very difficult to deal with her. So that's really more what it is. But my husband's very good at talking her down.
What does he do? Like, how is he good at that?
Well, she just needs a lot of attention, and she needs you to. When she starts to get upset, if she's being like irrational, I'm more the person that's gonna like point that out, whereas he just kind of like goes along with it and like redirects her to other things. Like, let's look at your garden instead, or whatever. Just better at, and he's also just more forgiving, so just lets it go.
Well, it's easier when it's not your own.
Yeah. Well, but sometimes, so I think this question is, sometimes people aren't as forgiving with people who aren't their family. So it might be harder to forgive your mother-in-law than your mother. So I can see that.
Ozzy, have you ever counseled someone who was in a similar situation in your role as having your certificate in spiritual direction? Like, from a spiritual standpoint, what would you say to someone who was struggling with a close relationship that was abusive?
Well, when I'm talking with someone, I try really hard to help them see where God is in the middle of the situation, because the Holy Spirit is always with us. And to help them see, sometimes you can't always see where God is in the middle of a relationship right now, but you can look at in the past. And when you have 20/20 hindsight, you can see, oh, I know God was there, I know God was there, I know God was protecting me here, I know God was doing this, I can see that. And so I can be at peace knowing that, okay, I don't know all the answers right now, but what is it that I need to do or say or not say just right now? And so, as far as spiritual direction, that's what I do. One of the things that I did a long time ago, you can't go find it. I made a timeline, and it's just pieces of paper that is scotch taped together, and there is a line, and it's color coordinated, and below it are all the things that are yucky that had happened, the deaths and some of the yucky stuff, and above it are when I earned my college degree, when the kids were born, when the grandchildren were born, and I needed to add some stuff that I was remembering, and I cut it and put another piece of paper and scotch taped it in there in the middle of it. And then I looked back, and I did this from the first thing that I could remember. And then I looked, and I added to it where I knew God was. When, the first time when I remember praying, one of the first things that I did, I was really little, and I had a pony, and I was at a horse show, and I just wanted to win 2 trophies. I had Pony Boy.
One's not good enough.
No, that's right. I wanted 2 trophies, and I got them. I said, God, I really want 2 trophies, and I won 2 trophies. But it's the simple things like that as a child, to remember. And so, I added, it turned into my spirituality timeline of my whole life. And I lost it in the moon. I know I had it in the hotel, but I'm not quite sure where it is now.
She'll find it after you die. She's gonna find it.
She's gonna find it. I know, but anyway, it was really wonderful for me to see, God was here, God was here, God was here, God was here. And so the yucky stuff that's happening, there's my family of origin, there's some garbage going on right now with my brother. But I can see God is taking care of it all for me. And, you know, I had, just even today, I had some really good conversations. And I go, okay, God, I know you've got this. And what was wonderful about it is everything is being worked out, and this is Lent. And I could not have planned this, you know, for everything to be working out and it's all going to be okay. And it's happening during Lent, you know, it's that purging of the garbage, you know, and I could not have planned all that. So that's the spirituality side of it. And so when I am talking with somebody or just friends, or, you know, it doesn't have to really be within spiritual direction. If I'm just chatting with somebody and they're going through a hard time, I'll say, well, look, God was, you know, I know this happened to you, and this is where God was. You know, so you know God is here now. Just, you know, it's all going to be okay. And everything is all right already.
At one point, just to sort of rip off of what you just said, we were seeing a financial counselor. Told you we were really poor. And one of the things he was a Baptist, and he told us to make a list of all the things that we really needed. You know, a pair of shoes for so-and-so, a car battery, you know, whatever it was. And including some of the things that we wanted but weren't strictly needs to were in there. And then as God met that need, to make a comment next to it, and to pray over this every day. At the end of 6 months, every single one of our needs have been met.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just kind of interesting. Your where is God in all of this? You don't see it because I wouldn't see it because I was anxious over where am I going to get the shoes from? But they showed up.
Yeah,
You know,
God provides.
God provides. I mean, I know those were material things, but it was true with the other facet too. Your anxiety about your kid who's not doing well in mathematics, or whatever it is.
God's there. It always works out.